Hey, welcome to the channel. And this video, we're going to continue with the spam controls, implementing additional spam controls in your website forms based on what those spam submissions are. If you've watched the previous video in this series of videos, you will know that we actually implemented some controls that will just taking the data that people have submitted in their spam submissions and implemented it into some validation logic. So we're going to continue that. In this video, we'll be doing the email address field. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time, and welcome back if you are a repeat viewer. My name is Kenny. I do IT as well as DIY projects on this channel. Each week I do new videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays, so come back and come back often. Be sure to subscribe. So I've gotten several spam submissions on a new website that I set up for my business. One of those submissions is what you're seeing right now. Basically, this email was sent in, and let's just walk through here to see what we can check for as far as validations go. So first things first, the customer put the first name and last name as the exact same thing. Now, I don't know too many people that have the exact same first and last name. So what I will consider implementing is also a check to make sure that the first name is not equal to the last name. If so, then there's probably something wrong with that particular submission. Next is the email address. And this is the one that I want to focus on the most. So they actually put in the email address for my domain name. Now, one thing about this is I know this email address does not exist. Why is that? Well, one, this is my domain name. And two, I did not create an email address with info@rhtservices.net. The reason being is because I know that email address, any info at whatever the domain name is a pretty common email address that is used. And so I didn't want my business to have to deal with that in terms of like the spam content. And so even on the business cards, I have a separate email address that if you have the business card, you get that email address on that business card and you email that. But nowhere do I use an info at email address because of the fact it is so common for people to send email to that address to get information about a business. And likewise, it is also common for people to spam that address. So because of the fact he actually put he put an email address in using my business's domain name in it, is a cause for concern. However, it did pass the validation. So that being said, it is a legit email and it went through. So what I want to do is to implement some validations here that will check for this type of behavior, because this is one of the several emails that I've received, and some of them did use not just this one, but others have also used the same tactic for the email address field. One other thing that I noticed is that he signed the email to me with my business name in it. Now, that is just blatantly red flag. Like if somebody's trying to send you a message, they're not going to sign that message with your business name in it. So another check that I will put in is to check for the business name in the description of the email. All right, so we're going back over to our contact page, and I have already set up the email validation stuff here. So I'm gonna just walk you through what I've done. So I'm using the same function that I've used before with the does appear to be spam function. What I need to do now is to add the post variable for the email address, and that is email address. And so if we come down here, so yeah, the name of the field is email address. All right, and so we'll pass that in to our validation or spam function. And in this spam function, so we have a value coming in. So we're converting the email to all lowercase. And then one other thing that I didn't do on the previous go round is implement a trim, because it is possible for you to put a bunch of spaces in here and it potentially still validate as being a valid email address. So I put the trim in here, and then you're setting that to back to itself. And then here, so because of the fact I could have multiple email uh, things to check, I set up an array and then I'm looping through that array. In the previous video, we checked for the description, and I did go ahead and rewrite this conditional here for to be able to support many more instead of using an if statement for each one. And so I'm doing the same, essentially the same logic here, but for a different field on the form. And so we're taking all of the email phrases and we are putting them into an array. Now, right now, I only have this particular email address. And the reason being is because one of my automated test case for deployment is actually using a email address for the domain. So I'm going to have to update my test case in order to just exclude my domain entirely from this form. That's why I haven't put the anything else in here. But going forward, I will actually put my domain name in here as the email phrase to check against. And if it sees my domain name as part of the email address, then it throws it out and throws the display error message that we did in the previous video. And so that's essentially what is here. You loop through everything that's in this array, which right now is only one element. If the element or phrase in this case contains, excuse me, if the um, so if the email field contains any of the phrases, then this is spam submission function will return true, which then comes back down here and does displays the error message as well as flagging the subject of the email as spam. And it also, I believe that's it right now. Oh, and it will not show the request being submitted successfully, although the email actually will be still sent per the logic here. So it's still going to send the email, but it's not going to actually let the user know that the email was sent. And the reason being, because I want to continue to evolve this code to be able to better handle common submissions that are submitted to it in an effort to reduce the spam that is coming in. Also, because these spammers are actually giving me content ideas for you all to watch. So that is essentially it. So ultimately, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to put my domain name in here. I'm also going to add the example. I guess you could do example.com as a domain name in here as well, or info@example.com. And the reason being is because if you look into the documentation for domain names and ICANN, that's ICANN, they say that you should not use the example.com domain name in any of your stuff. However, like an actual implementation of it, you should only use it for examples. But some people actually do that, and I have a thought that that may be possible with this particular form. So I may put that in here and leave it in here. I don't know. I might have to tinker with it to see what else could be done with this. But for right now, this is what I'll go with. And so essentially this code will work the same as the checking of the description for certain keywords. As I also mentioned, because they use the name of my business in the body of the email, how dare you sign the email that you're sending to me with my business signature in it? Like, what? So I went ahead and added a condition in there that if you state that the name of the business in the description, there's a great chance that it's probably spam. And so it is checking that as well as the other conditions of the domains as well as website protocols. So that will be it for this video. This video is not much compared to the last video, but it's essentially expanding the same spam checking logic to make sure that the spam submissions either continue to reduce, or are stopped entirely, because a lot of times you're getting these emails because of the fact there's a lack of spam control. Um, One thing I will be implementing that I will probably do off of not in a video is to implement Captcha or Recaptcha. Basically, that is the one of the key spam control features where you have to like select the image or identify text and go from there as far as trying to prevent spam from being submitted. So my thing with Recaptcha though is that I have implemented it on previous websites. However, some spam submissions did still manage to get through. I think because of the fact a human was still submitting that information, but the rest of the data in there was like the details of it was pretty much spam. So copy paste. Oh, there's a captcha here. Let's go ahead and do that and send it off. And so, for that reason, I'm still going to implement it, but just know that Recaptcha doesn't necessarily fix every problem. Any questions about the PHP code here, feel free to drop a comment down below. As always, the link to the video notes will be down in the description. That link will take you, have other links to it, including the link to the repository where this file and code is at. The code may change between the time you see this video and the current version of the code, but essentially this logic will still remain in code. Please be sure to subscribe. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. Until next time, peace out.